Law number 4, the law of provenance. The employer brand comes from every single part of the company and informs each part in turn. Everything the company does is the brand. And this is good news and bad news. Now, the good news is that you have the chance to work with literally anybody in the company and will be able to make an impact. Whether it's the executive assistant who decides what the outgoing voicemail message is, or the internal comms manager who's scripting the next all-hands meeting, or even the next customer service manager who's adjusting the language used by call centers. Maybe it's even the marketers and the developers who manage the corporate website, or the IT team who decides the default wallpaper on all the computers assigned to the staff. You can do good employer brand work from literally any part of the company. The bad news is that the company is huge compared to you, and every single element of the company may call on you at any time for advice, copy, images, strategies, videos, even event support, and who knows what else. You are a single person with a straw stepping into the ocean to try and drink it dry. Good luck. You're more likely to grow wings than you are to complete 20% of the good ideas you have in that list, the one you keep on your phone of things you think that might be fun or cool or useful or helpful. Now, without opening up the can of worms marked, where should employer brand function live? I'm not getting into that. This law simply embraces that no matter where the function lives, its scope is far wider than its spot on the organizational chart. Compared to consumer brand, where perception is localized to the product, its availability, and the service around it, there are seemingly infinite cooks putting their hands in your employer brand pot. And that's why only crazy people do this job. You're expected to be responsible for the output of every aspect of the company because every aspect of the company impacts the brand. But you have zero authority to make that change happen. The law of provenance therefore spawns two crucial corollaries, the rule of influence and the rule of authenticity. Now, the rule of influence says that as you have no authority over any of these teams who are saying, shipping, and publishing things that change people's perception of your brand, you need to spend a lot of time building relationships with all those people. You need to generate influence. You need to help them understand the impact of customer service, feature development, ESG, PR, and recruiting, among all the others, that they have on the brand and their ability to hire great people. The rule of authenticity states that since branding messages are coming from every part of the company, the most effective way to align messages around the brand is to ensure that the brand makes sense to everybody, that it reflects the organizational approach to whatever it is that person's doing. I want to underscore something here. The value in authenticity isn't about being moral or good. There's no inherent good in being authentic beyond the fact that it's more effective, because people are always going to do what they've always been doing. So it's easier to wrap all of those individual actions in a brand idea than it is to get a lot of different people and teams to change. Why this works. According to the law of perception, the brand we seek to influence lives in other people's heads, and it's ultimately a construct of accumulated experiences, touchpoints, and interactions. Thus, all the elements of the company are nudging the employer brander in lots of different directions. What the recruiter says in the outreach email and how much the customer service seems to care about their customers' problems, they all have equal weight and impact on the brand. But instead of thinking about a company as a series of semi-related functions, and let's be fair, they don't always talk to each other, what if we instead saw it as a large organism, where attributes from one part impact the attributes from all the others? Imagine a giraffe or a deer where one leg was just slightly shorter than the rest. That short leg defines how well the animal can run, regardless of how strong the other three are. So when you're looking at an employer brand, what you're seeing is the sum of the entire organization, even if the responsibility of the employer brand falls to talent acquisition or comms or marketing. What someone on the other side of the company does can have just as big of an influence on what the public sees and feels about the company as the thousands of dollars in ad budget and the planning of a dozen smart people. Where this falls apart. The obvious challenge with this law is that no matter how often you explain that every part of the company is shaping the brand, companies prefer to know exactly who can be blamed for problems. they're going to make one person or team responsible for the brand so they have a single throat to choke, so to speak. No matter how diligent or organized, no matter how prescient, you will simply not be able to know everything your company is doing. The law means that part of your time managing the brand is going towards building some space or slack in the system, giving yourself room to adjust and react to messes that you could not anticipate. This need to build in space and gaps will seem like a drag on your productivity. But as you are regularly interrupted by crises well beyond your scope and expected to react to them, that space is going to keep you from having to throw good strategic projects by the wayside. Examples. There are ample examples of companies making huge claims about their employer brand and their culture and their values and all those wonderful things to candidates, but then don't actually live up to all those pretty words. We can start with companies who, fly pride flags all over their career page in June to show how inclusive they are, but then donate to politicians who are actively seeking to limit the rights of people in the LGBTQ+ community. When the company is talking out of both sides of its mouth, who's a candidate supposed to believe? The marketer or the executive cutting the check? Of course, we have companies who talk about how much they care about women and value women in the workspace, but then only offer the legal minimum of family leave. It doesn't matter how many women you've put in the hero image or put on the career site if the company doesn't know how to make allowances for women who are building a family. What about the companies who talk about their dedication to innovative approaches and then, of course, ask you to retype your resume into the ATS? Sure, the company didn't code the ATS, but they made the choice to be okay with outdated technology for candidates because these aren't people that are important to the company yet. These are just a few examples, but unfortunately, they're always negative, aren't they? The company plays up how much it lives by its values as a marketing tactic, but then throws it out the window the moment it becomes complex or painful or expensive or politically expedient. So I won't name names, but I suspect I don't have to. We all know companies who are really good at painting over the cracks in the foundation rather than fixing things. And that might work in consumer marketing, but employer branding, the cracks always come through.